From the Pep Radio Newsroom, these are the stories that we are currently following. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, an anti-LGBTQ plus politician who is his party's nominee for governor this year, considers same-sex marriage as an ungodly form of wickedness. It's just the latest in a long string of inflammatory comments he has made that now threaten his chances of being elected. During a recently unearthed sermon he delivered on April 26, 2021, at People's Baptist Church in Greenville, North Carolina, he said, quote, "I'm going to have to answer to God Almighty. I'm going to have to give an account for everything that I say or do on this journey He has put me on, and because of that, I intend to say some things that I am not supposed to say. Things like this: marriage is between one man and one woman." Robinson, who was recently accused of regularly patronizing state porn shops, has said that he considers LGBTQ plus people as filthy demons who mentally rape children. Among his many anti-LGBTQ plus statements, he has called homosexuality an abominable sin, has compared LGBTQ plus people to cow dung and satanic demons, and said trans people should defecate on public street corners outside rather than using bathrooms matching their gender identity. He has also made numerous racist and anti-Semitic comments. Recent polls suggest that voters disapprove of him so highly that he could cause Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump to lose the state in the upcoming national elections. A recent poll showed Trump leading his opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, by only 1% in the state, and another recent poll showed Robinson running 14 points behind his Democratic opponent, North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein. And most polls show Stein beating Robinson anywhere from 6 to 10%. The Oregon Capital Chronicle has been conducting interviews with women in the state legislature about Project 2025 for a series on women in politics. No Republicans agreed to be interviewed for the series. For many Democrats, the presidential transition plan crafted by conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation represents the threat posed by a second Donald Trump presidency. Its proposed restrictions on abortion, strict immigration enforcement, and rejection of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans, among other measures, are alarming Democrats and motivating them to fight to win. Trump has distanced himself from the initiative, which diverges from the Republican Party platform, but CNN found at least 140 Trump administration staffers who worked on the plan. The Democrats, including State Senator Gelser Blauen of Oregon, said Project 2025 represents a grave threat to Oregonians. Among its drastic proposals, the project's 922-page policy agenda calls for closing the Department of Education, establishing a pro-life task force in the Department of Health and Human Services, and taking employment protections away from certain civil employees. According to her biography on the Oregon legislature's website, Sarah Gelser Blauen was sworn into the Oregon House in 2005, where she served until she was elected to the Oregon State Senate in 2014. Among her current positions, she serves as the chair of the Senate Human Services Committee, serves on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Education Committee, and is on the Joint Committee on Ways and Means. Project 2025 is clear in its rejection of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. The head of the U.S. Health and Human Services Department should proudly state that men and women are biological realities, and quote, that married men and women are the ideal natural family structure because all children have a right to be raised by the men and women who conceived them, the policy book reads. For Gelser Blauen, that worldview reduces people's potential down to reproduction. The next generation of Oregonians would feel the greatest impact if those values were to become embedded in federal programs, she said. If those ideas get passed on to a boy who recognizes that he is gay early on, what type of sense of desperation does that cause within him, she asked. Under the project's agenda, the Federal Office of Civil Rights would not enforce the Affordable Care Act's anti-discrimination provisions based on sexual orientation and gender identity. State Senator Elizabeth Steiner, a physician at Oregon Health and Science University, said respecting patients' identity is critical to providing good health care. Otherwise, patients could feel they cannot speak openly with their doctor about their relationships, she noted. People also might receive inadequate care, she said. For example, a provider might fail to prescribe an HIV prevention medication to a man at risk because he has had multiple male sexual partners. Anything that gets in between healthcare, the provider, and their patient, Steiner said, and anything that reduces the likelihood that that patient will get the most appropriate evidence-based care is not something government should be doing. That's the news for now. Let's get back to the music here on PEP Radio.